Well, for us, we're mainly going to be focused on that wind advisory that's going to be moving in later today. We're not expecting any kind of snowfall here, but we are going to see some freezing conditions overnight tonight, as you're going to see in just a second. But the big thing you need to know for this afternoon is that these wind gusts are going to be very strong. If you live over towards the west of I-75, places like Thomaston, Butler, Roberta, and even Forsyth, all could see wind gusts between 30 and 35 miles per hour out there. Now, even if you live near Sandersville, Wrightsville, Dublin, or further down towards the south, a spot like McRae and Eastman, those areas are not underneath that same wind advisory, but could still see wind gusts as high as 25 during the afternoon. Thankfully, these winds should begin to calm down at some point during the evening, but it's not going to be enough to prevent us from feeling close to the mid-20s later, as you'll see here in just a second. So we do have a freeze warning that's going to take place really starting off at 7 p.m. tonight, lasting through 10 a.m. tomorrow. Now, that is a very long time period where we're expected to be down near the freezing point. I also want to point out our temperature earlier this morning was 58 degrees. We're going to see that temperature dropping throughout the day and eventually into the 30s whenever we get closer towards sunset. And for that reason, that's why we're looking at that freeze warning starting just a tad bit earlier. So if you have any plants that you need to cover up in your yard, make sure to do that. Any pool pumps, make sure those are covered. And if you have pets that you keep outdoors, make sure to either bring them in the house or put them into shelter outside just so they are away from those really cold freezing temperatures. So all across the area, we're going to see cold temperatures. And this is going to be the first time that it's going to happen for everyone. Macon already saw its first freeze a couple days ago, but we only made it down to about 31. It's very weak for a start. Now, for tomorrow, I think our lows will be between about 26 and at 28 degrees. If you factor in that wind, could easily feel closer to about 25 in some areas, especially if that wind is still hanging around, which I do think it will be for spots like Sparta, Wrightsville, and up near spots like Sandersville. Those are going to be the big areas to watch out for those really cold feels-like temperatures or those wind chills. Now, of course, over the next 10 days, we are going to see some nice changes moving on in. If you look into Thursday, at that point in time, your high temperatures are going to rise slightly, reaching the mid-50s. Lows should finally get above the freezing point when we get to early Friday morning. And then from that point forward, with that south wind returning, it's going to be feeling much better for this weekend. It's still going to be a little below average. Yes, we're still going to have lows around 60 to 63 degrees from Friday all the way through Sunday. But as you can see here, these lows are going to be closer to about 40 to 42, much more manageable if you're trying to make outdoor plans for the weekend. Now, as far as any rain chances are concerned, I do think Monday might be a day we're looking at for a quick chance of rain, but outside of that, I don't think we're going to have too much into next weekend. And now here's going to be a quick look at your fish and game forecast brought to you by Harrison's Body Shop. The best time for later today will be around 2 o'clock.